So, Chris, thanks for coming in. Of course, it's LGBTQ History Month this month. And yeah, we just wanted to have a sit down and find out your experience as an Orient fan. So, firstly, what does LGBTQ History Month mean to you?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, and it's good to see the club doing it. I think it just means it's a good time, I guess, to reflect on what has come before, and I think to it's good to look at how much progress we've made, but also it's a really good month, I think, to look at what still needs to be done, and then use them stories and people and ideas and movements from the past to try and then think about how we can keep improving going forward.
Absolutely. Who are some people, or are there any moments in LGBT history that you value?
Yeah, I think maybe outside of football, I guess there's like the classic like Stonewall riots. There's the things like the initial Pride marches, the Pride movements, like Marsha B. Johnson and stuff. The sort of trans activists who started the Pride movement that are really important. That I think we always think about at this time of month. And then I think in football, it's obviously there's less, especially in the male game, there's less people I guess to look out for. But I think in the female game, I like take a lot of inspiration from people like Sam Kerr, people like Lucy Bronze, people who are playing football at a really high elite level and feel comfortable being out and being themselves.
Yeah, yeah. Um, what's it like being LGBTQ today in society?
I think scary right now. Again, like there's lots of good stuff. The fact that like things like this happen, and I think it's a lot better for a lot of people. But I think especially for maybe trans people, I think it's quite scary at the moment, to be honest.
I mean, I guess on that, what experiences have you had at football games, for example, being a part of LGBTQ?
I think it's interesting. It's very easy to hide. I think for a long time I wasn't out in football at all. I mean, like 10 years ago, the idea of me doing something like this would have been like terrifying, and never would have done it at all. So, and a lot of the reason for that was hearing homophobic abuse, not aimed at me particularly, but aimed at other fans, aimed at opposition players, sometimes even aimed at your own players who you're meant to be supporting, and feeling like, if they're willing to shout at that at someone who they'll travel to Carlisle to go and watch, they're not gonna like me if I'm like out and stuff. So yeah, but also a lot of really positive stuff. Like when I did start coming out, a lot of my friends and family really supportive, and yeah, like generally really positive, but also some tinged with some negativity.
Um, and obviously we have the RainbOs here. How important are they to you?
Yeah, really important. I mean, I sort of had stopped coming to Orient because of homophobia heard during the conference season, and the sort of lack of action that the club took about it, especially when it was clear who was doing it over and over again. So the fact that the RainbOs existed sort of was a way for me to come back in, and it's been amazing meeting other fans who shared similar experiences and making Orient feel more like the family club I thought it was growing up.
That's great. I mean, the RainbOs, I suppose, to you sound like a little bit of an inspiration. Aside from them, has there been any other people in time that have really inspired you like that?
Yeah, I mean, the RainbOs are a big inspiration. So, I mean, definitely Alan, who's our chair, he's a huge inspiration to me. And like his work ethic and his drive in helping the RainbOs set up and all the stuff he does is like super inspiring and has enabled me to feel more comfortable to do stuff. Um, my uncle is probably my biggest inspiration. He helped set up the Orienteer fanzine here, and he was very active in the fight against racism in football in the 80s. And he's why I love football, and he's always who I think of when I'm looking to make things better.
Great. And I suppose just finally, what is visual representation? Things like a rainbow ball. What do they mean for you?
I think good and bad. I think good is, representation does matter and it's important, but it's bad if that's the only thing that happens. I think it's important. It's good to have a ball, but what are you doing around, like what are you doing outside of the ball? Otherwise, you're just kicking the ball around. Like, what else is
No,
happening?
I mean, I agree. I almost think, it's sad that we almost still need to highlight these things by wearing rainbow laces and having a rainbow ball, but, that's where society is still to a point. So, um, it's good that these things exist, but at the same time, what serious action is being taken, it's, a little bit like, how much good did taking the knee do when you're still hearing racial slurs
Yeah,
in football stands and
100%.
whatnot. So yeah, no, I'm
A
with you.
hundred percent.
Chris, thanks very much for
No, thank you
giving
for
us your
having
time
me.
and sharing your thoughts.
No,
Cheers.
of course, no worries.